Hey everyone, it's me again, Victoria, and this is my final presentation. I want to say a lot. This is really hard to get through in 5 minutes when I have so much to say about this, but my advocacy project is focused on increasing awareness and access to the LGBTQ community resources. And what I found is that support often exists, but people don't always know about it. Or how to access it. So my goal was to help bridge the gap by focusing on visibility, connection, and making resources more known within the community. Through my research, I've found that one of the biggest barriers isn't always the lack of resources, it is just the lack of awareness. And many organizations are doing important work, but without the strong outreach, they're not reaching the people who need them the most. And this really showed me that advocacy doesn't always mean creating something new, but sometimes just making what already exists more visible. Put my face over here. For me, this project is really personal. I grew up Catholic and in a Catholic environment where LGBTQ topics weren't really talked about openly, but if they were, it was pretty negative, and over time my perspective has evolved, and now as a woman married to another woman, that's a picture of me and my beautiful wife, it feels very real and meaningful to me, and it kind of pushed me to take something from my own experience and turn it into action, and in some way I can be helpful to others and they can feel supported and connected. For this project, I partnered with the Whittier LGBTQ Center. Their work focuses on providing support, education, and safe spaces for the LGBTQ community. And beyond that, really, they're just a safe place for anyone who needs it. They offer a range of programs, but like many organizations, their impact depends heavily on people actually knowing they exist. So we'll talk more about that in the next slide. For my interview, I interviewed Joanne Serda. We had a great interview. Her pronouns are she, her, and one of the biggest takeaways was the lack of awareness again, which I've already mentioned a bunch. That's a major challenge. They also mentioned barriers like limited funding and difficulty building consistent partnerships, right? So something that really stood out to me was the idea that partnering is power. That was something that she said, and collaboration is the key to expanding their reach. So I posted a little picture here about how to be an ally in case anyone's interested. Just along the way, there's little cute pictures off to the side that I think will help some people if they're interested. And my main objective was to increase awareness about the center and its services in a measurable way. And I focused on using simple tools like surveys and outreach just to track changes in awareness, but the goal wasn't to do something huge, but just to create something realistic, intentional, and then also achievable within the time frame for this course. Again, I posted a really interesting website if y'all are curious to become an ally. There's a lot of information on that website. But so who are we targeting includes youth and young adults, especially those who may not already be connected to those resources. And I also considered people within my own community network, since those are often like the easiest and the most realistic groups to reach in a short amount of time for a project like this. So some of the opponents, which I think is a really, really big part of the problem in accessing this information, really are more broad factors like societal stigma, misinformation, general discomfort around the LGBTQ topics, and these things can create barriers, right, that prevent people from seeking out or even being open to learning about the available resources or having their children even know about the available resources. So that makes it difficult, and those are true barriers that we have to overcome. And I think the biggest one is the last one here is our current government administration opinions. We all know how that goes right now. For the key messages, the message that I really want to communicate is that resources exist and people aren't alone. I also want to emphasize that awareness is the first step to access, and that even small efforts to share information can make a very meaningful difference in connecting people to the support that they're looking for. So, LGBT and advocacy. So for my activities, I focused on something simple but intentional, I felt, and I created and shared awareness materials, and I used surveys, anonymous surveys, to collect feedback, encouraged engagement through accessible tools like QR codes. So this is my QR code that I created. I would love if you guys could scan the QR code from this video and check out the Whittier LGBTQ website. Everything I did was centered around making information easy to access and understand, and kind of technology, right? Everyone's on their phone, so this makes it easy. Here are the simple data tools that I used, and I saw a clear increase in awareness and understanding of available resources. And even with the small group that participated, there was a noticeable growth in how many people knew about the center and how to access it. And this showed me that even on a small scale, advocacy efforts can still create a real impact. And there are people out there who appreciate it, even if you just help one person, right? So, one of my strengths in this project was keeping it realistic and focused, and I was able to connect awareness to action in a meaningful way, I think. And an area for growth would definitely be expanding the outreach to reach more people and to collect more data over time. But I also learned that strong partnerships take consistency and follow through, right? So that's my little picture here. If you want to be successful, you have to be consistent. Moving forward, the goal is to continue to build awareness and strengthen my connections with the organization. I really enjoyed my time with Joe and just kind of learning more about their programs. Really are amazing. I know I don't have a lot of time, but it's not just about LGBTQ, it's about anybody. They provide groceries for people once a week. They provide little bus tickets for people just to get from place to place, to get to their appointments. I mean, it's really amazing stuff that they do there. And I just think that advocacy isn't a one-time thing, right? It's something that needs to continue over time. So sustainability is important, and you just got to keep going. My work for this project was supported by the research above, organizations like GLSEN, the Trevor Project, and then along with my interview from the Whittier LGBTQ Center. These sources helped me ground my project in both research and real-world experiences. Again, I have so much more to say about this topic, about this center, my views. I'd love to have open discussions. I hope that you were able to sense my passion about this, and I left the QR code, I left other websites for you to check out if you are interested in this topic, and I wish you guys the best.